And we're going to do a Mega Man 4 review. This is my second least liked game in the series. Basically because the first one is my least liked, which it is, it's harder and it's different. This one is hard as well. They kind of amped up the difficulty a little bit on it. Well, in my opinion, that's what they done. I'm going to forewarn you on this one. If you see E-tanks, extra lives, or the battery things that fill up the weapon energy, pick up everything that you can get your hands on, because the game is a little bit more difficult, and you need everything that you can get. Because I went through there and I still had some E-tanks left, but those you almost have to have them. They're almost a necessity. This is, like I said, this is one of the ones I don't really care for that much, and it is difficult. We'll go through some stuff here that I think is kind of instrumental to the game. On this one, it's the introduction of the Mega Buster. You don't hardly see me ever use it in the playthrough. I just really don't care for it. You hold down the button and it does a harder shot that takes out more area. It's like a super shot. I usually don't use it that much, so you won't see me use it that much. But only one of the weapons is affected by it, really, that you can use the weapon that way by charging it up. The other ones, it really doesn't matter. Eddie, also known as Flip Top, is also in sections of this game. I'm not going to tell you exactly where all he's at, because it seems like he's in almost every stage in the game, at least some point in there. So it's a little bit difficult to list where he's at. Thorough search of every stage, maybe even revisiting some stages, is advisable, if not for just the extra E-tanks and 1-ups and things of that nature. So you might want to go back and do that. Rush is again on this game. Same things as last time: Coil, Marine, Jet. And we're going to talk about the robot order that I use, and we'll go through those. This is also one of the first games where the weapons are basic, kind of a basic name. Like on number 2, you had the metal blade, leaf shield, things like that. They were named, and then well, that was on number 2, and then on number 3 they had like magnet missile, hard knuckle, things like that. So they started renaming and putting a little bit further in the names of them. So we'll go over each of what those are and what they do. In most of the stages are not that difficult. You go through them, and as long as you take your time and just go through them, and as long as you learn stuff on them, none of them are really that difficult. The bosses, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 of them, are a little bit rough. The other ones are not really that bad. You'll see that as I go through. I always take Rain Man first, or not Rain Man, Toad Man. Toad Man. You get the Rain Flush after you beat him, but he's Toad Man. You get the Rain Flush. Basically, his only attack is he'll hold his hands up and he'll kind of shake his midsection, and when he shakes his midsection, it rains and that hits you. The best thing to do is just get close to him. He'll start jumping back and forth over you. Just go underneath him. You can still slide. Just go underneath him, turn, shoot, turn, shoot, turn, shoot. Just keep doing that, and he'll die. You can't get much simpler than that on a Robot Master. I mean, that's one of the easiest ones. And you get the Rain Flush with that, and you throw a little capsule up, and it comes down, and rain hits a stage. Now you're going to Brightman's stage second. You'll go through there. There's one area that's it's a ladder that leads down. the section goes across to a power up. If you don't have the rush jet, if you take another pattern and you have the rush jet at that time, you can fly back across. If not, what you might want to do is use the rush coil to jump on and get on those platforms, and then just jump right off of them until you get all the way to the edge. You'll have enough to make it. As long as you jump one time on each, you'll have enough to make it. Not much else to say about the stage. Like I said, take your time, do those jump things, and you're fine. Once you get to Brightman, he's got a time stopper that he uses quite frequently along with shooting bullets. What you're going to do is you're going to use those, like I said, those rain flushes. You're going to use that on him. You should be able to kill him before he does a significant amount. If you find that you need to, use an E-Tank. You probably won't, but in the case that something goes awry and you do need it, go ahead and use it. You'll go to Pharaoh Man stage next. After you beat Brightman, you get it's called the Flash Stopper. So you go to Pharaoh Man stage next. Now what you'll do is, you got to keep jumping, otherwise you'll sink in this quicksand. But what you'll do is when you get to the first area where you have to jump down a hole, you're going to use the rush coil to get over top of that hole, and you're going to go to the end. Now when you go to the end, you're going to pick up a thing that it looks like a battery and it says B on it. Now that's a balloon. You don't have to have it to finish the game, but it does help in certain sections. So you do want to pick that up. Like I said, again, you don't have to have it to finish the game. It's not a necessity. It's not necessary, but it makes certain parts a lot easier. So you're going to pick that up. They'll start you back about where you were going to be, and you'll go through the rest of the stage. Now when you go to fight Pharaoh Man, you want to get him on a level that you can shoot him at, because he's very fast. He shoots these huge waves, and he shoots other bullets, and he's really fast. He's like Quick Man and Shadow Man. He's really fast. So what you need to do is you need to use that Flash Stopper on him. I always want to call it Time Stopper. It's Flash Stopper. You want to use a Flash Stopper. When you get him where you want him, you just hold. You either just keep pressing the button, or if you got one of those nice controllers, you can just hold the button down. You will not run out of Time Stopper before you kill him. You will not. You will still have Time Stopper left over by the time you kill him, as long as he is directly somewhere either in front of you or on a level maybe down from you. As long as you're hitting him, just stay where you're at and just fling the bullets like there's no tomorrow. That's the best thing to do, because that's the way it goes. Now, the next stage you'll go up on is Ring Man. Now, Ring Man is one of those robot masters that you could start, really, if you needed to. You could start first instead of using Toad Man. You could use Ring Man first. His stage is not very hard. You have to remember there's these platforms that keep going back and forth and stuff like that, and they'll drop you off if you don't jump from platform to platform. Later on in the stage, there's some darker ones that are they go the reverse way. I think the colored rainbow ones, they go from left to right. These other ones, they go from right to left. So you have to make sure that you know which way they go. That way, you know how much time you've got to jump or where you need to land when you jump. And in that theory, another thing is also I want to get into this before I say too much else. And there will be parts where you'll have to do this. You have to slide, and you can, as long as you're sliding or sliding underneath something, you can change directions back and forth. So you can be sliding one way and slide back the other way, as long as you're still in that slide, and it's like something that you have to go underneath. So you can change your direction in your slide while you're sliding at any point there. So that's a nice mechanic. It's not just a straight slide and then you'd have to slide back. You can change directions. In Ring Man stage, there are two kind of mini bosses, if you would. One is a hippo. I think he shows up twice, and he's on a pedestal. You have to shoot out the lower parts of the pedestal to get the pedestal to lower down, and then you have to jump up and shoot him. All the meanwhile, he's shooting different projectiles at you, and you have to take him out. Now, on, let's see, on another part of the stage, there's two of these too. They're green rings. They open up, and there's a set of eyeballs in there. When they open up far enough, you are supposed to let a shot go through there. Sometimes they fully open, sometimes they halfway open. When they halfway open, you can't shoot them. When they fully open, you can shoot them. There's, I neglected to mention, there's an enemy in Toadman stage that's a snail that kind of fires weapons, like I think they're bombs off of his back, and he's about the same thing. You have to jump and shoot him in the eyes when the eyes are open. Of course, he'll try to attack you with the eyes either straight or diagonal. Also in that stage, you have to watch out for the rain and for which way the water is flowing in Toadman stage. That can make a difference on your jumps, things of that nature. So you gotta be careful with that. You get the ring. Well, you got the Pharaoh shot, which is what you use on Ringman. Best thing to do is to charge this shot up, hold down the button, you'll get a big ball above your head, big pinkish tannish ball. You just let the button go, and he throws it, and you'll throw it straight forward. Also, if the enemy's jumping above you or anything, they'll take a hit off of that too. So there's, you'll have to use that. You'll get the ring boomerang. Now the next stage that you'll go to will be Dustman stage. There's a couple parts in this one where they'll have a ceiling coming down, and you'll have to shoot out blocks, and you'll have to move very fast to not get squashed. It's not that hard if you just look, and if you just keep shooting and you keep looking at where the blocks are. It gets easier. It's not as hard as it first seems. Now, when you get to Dustman, Ringman, what he does, by the way, is he throws out a ring, usually straight forward, and then usually one diagonal. Tries to hit you different ways with those rings. Dustman either shoots regular bullets, or he shoots a dust thing that comes out, and wherever it explodes into 4 different pieces. I think they go diagonal. And also he'll try to drag you in with the vacuum that's on top of his head. I actually call him TV monitor head because it looks like he's got a TV monitor on his head. So that's why I've always made fun of him, called him TV monitor head. But anyway, you use the ring boomerang on him. You'll just fire it at him. You can't hit him when he's using the suction on the top part of him. You cannot hit him with that when he's doing that. So you have to hit him when he's just standing there or firing out the other things. The ring boomerang, it just goes out and it comes back to you. So, and you'll know if you don't connect with something, you'll know because you'll hear a distinct, like, kind of a clink sound. That's when it did not hit its intended target. It would have hit, but it did not hit. So when you hear a clink, that means you did not connect. On Dustman, you get the Dust Crusher. It's the same thing that he was firing at you, except on yours, it's more of a projectile that goes all the way across the room and hits an enemy. So you'll go to Skullman stage next, and in Skullman stage, I really like the music in that stage. They did good with that one. Again, not very hard, not very long stage. You'll come up on these guys that are they're skeletons and they throw bones. You can't take them out with basic regular shots. You have to wait until they form, and then you have to shoot them with a Mega Buster shot. That's the only way to kill them. There's a few of those in there, but they're not nearly as bad as what they are later, and I'll explain later on one of the stages. When you get to Skullman, you'll use that Dust Crusher. He'll have a skull barrier that comes up every so often. He tries to run to where you're at, and also he'll stop and he'll fire shots. It's kind of a random thing. He'll move and he'll run and fire shots at you, or he'll just try to just run you over, and half the time he'll put up the barrier and things like that. You just keep hitting him when you can and just try to jump over him and things like that. You get the skull barrier from him, and it creates a little barrier of skulls that defends you from damage, but I only think you can only get hit one time with that. So it's not a weapon per se, but it is what it is. You'll see what I mean here at the end of this next one. Dive Man is next. Dive Man stage. There are 2 big whales in this stage, and they shoot out torpedoes. They're not really hard to kill, but they do take quite a bit of shots. And after you kill the second one, there's a little hole after that one, and you drop down that hole, and you'll dodge some spikes as you're going down through there. And once you hit the very bottom, it'll be right in the middle, will be a battery that has a W on it. That's for the wire. I don't really have too much use for the wire. I don't think you'll really see me use it too much in the video. I don't even know if I even do use it in the video. The wire is like a grappling hook. You can shoot it above you, or I think you can shoot it out to the side. If you shoot it above you and you connect with the ceiling, you just up to ceiling. You really can't swing or anything off of it, but you know it's for that. But again, it's like the balloon. You don't have to have it. If it's something that you want to grab, though, you can grab it and use it. I don't remember very many instances where I particularly use it, but or if I use it at all. But it's there. You'll go to fight Dive Man. This is probably the hardest robot fight on the game, because you have to use a skull barrier. And what you'll have to do is you'll have to turn the skull barrier on, and then he has to run into the barrier. So if the barrier connects, but he's still charging toward you in his torpedo way, you're going to take damage. But you just got to keep trying to keep moving and use that skull barrier. And you're underwater, so that doesn't help matters at all either, because you're trying to jump, and that doesn't really work out that well either, because you're trying to just do just a little jump, and you're in the water, you go way up, and of course he's using dive missiles, he's using bullets, he's using himself as a torpedo to shoot through there. I mean, he's using all kinds of stuff, so he's probably the worst. Again, on any of these, if you need to use an E-Tank, use an E-Tank. Go back and get some of the other ones. Trust me, because you're going to need them. You get the, let's see. You get the dive missile. The dive missile is really weird. Most of the time when you shoot it, it just goes straight. But every now and then when you shoot it, it'll lock onto an enemy and follow them around, which is what you want. But you never know if it's going to do one or if it's going to do the other. I think I've kind of almost figured it out, but not 100% figured it out. Yeah. Okay, so you'll go to Drill Man stage, and that's the last man. That's the last one. Nothing to say here. Stage is what it is. It's just going through. And once you get to Drill Man, he will stand above ground sometimes and shoot at you. Some of the time, he'll jump up, he'll dive down into the ground. Best I can tell you, don't get stuck in a corner. Jump around until he comes out. And use those dive missiles. If he's diving, you can't hit him with a dive missile. You can't hit him with it. Any other time, you can hit him with it. And like I said, if he's getting ready to dive, most of the time the dive missile will fly straight. Any other time, the dive missile will follow him around, or it'll make a way around and it'll hit him. So you can just pretty much fire it and just fire it towards him. It should just roll around, just hit him. And once you kill him, you get the drill bomb, which would be used against Rain Man. Rain Man. Why do I keep calling him Rain Man? I guess it's because the move is called Rain Flush. You will use the drill bomb against Toad Man. And either I keep calling him Toad Man, or I forget to call him Toad Man and I call him Rain Man, because either A, I'm thinking about the Rain Flush attack, or B, I'm thinking about the movie Rain Man. It's hard to tell which one is going through my mind. Probably the attack, but I don't know. So, now that everybody's had a good laugh about that, another thing I want to point out is the drill bombs. You'll see stages that have green kind of thick doors. That's what the drill bomb's used for. You can use those on those, and you can bash those doors open and get to what's behind them. There's one part in one of the castles where it looks like you're going to have to get hit to get onto these platforms. You don't have to get hit. There's these little floor crawling things. They got saw blades on top of them. Use the dive missile on those. You kill them both, and then you just jump on up through there and you go on. You go on about your merry way. So there's that tip. I tried different weapons on them, and finally I found one that worked. I think it's the only one that will work. Now, you have a new person to go after, and his name is Dr. Cossack. C-O-S-S-A-C-K. So you go through his castle, and the first boss in there is the, I call it the moth machine. It looks like a huge moth / butterfly. It's got a red dot in the middle of it. You'll need to use the ring boomerang on that red dot. It will take out sections of the floor, and it will try to hit you with bullets and everything else. You need to take it out as fast as you can, because you'll have to jump and shoot that ring boomerang, and you need to hit him at least twice each time the boomerang goes out and comes back if you can catch him. So the ring boomerang will be used for a lot of the bosses at the end of the game. It is an essential weapon. It is something that is necessary. Also, on the first stage of Dr. Cossack's castle, at the beginning, you need to watch out for these white tigers that are in there. I think they might be leopards. I don't know. They're some kind of cat, and they take a lot of shots, and you almost have to kill them all because they do a lot of damage. There's another section where there will be stuff coming out of holes, and there will be some of those bone-throwing skeleton men. The best thing to do in that situation is to pull out the rush jet and just use the rush jet and go across the top of the screen. You shouldn't have to worry about anything, and you'll have more than enough to get you through to the end of the screen. So there's a tip for you there. Any of these other times, you can use a rush jet or a balloon or the rush coil, and use them. But like I said, when you start getting those batteries that recharge your weapons, make sure your ring boomerang and your rush jet are charged up. Don't worry too much about anything else. That boomerang and that jet need to be charged up almost all the time, because you will need them. The second castle stage, these stages they're somewhat long, and they can be somewhat tough. I think in the second one, I think that's the one that you have to, there's one of these stages where you have to ride the rush jet through a section there. But it's not real far, and all you have to do is grab one battery, I think, and it's done. Now you'll get to, I call this boss the CPU. This is one of the most frustrating bosses for me. This is a multi-layered machine. On the very top, there's a piece that it goes the same way that the very bottom piece goes. and usually they move that way. And every now and then they go that way. And then there's a middle piece. When they're moving kind of slow, that's your cue to jump in, slide underneath, and then get ready to jump on one of these two moving platforms and shoot the big red thing in the middle. Now, the big red thing is going to be what's shooting you. You're not going to have a lot of time. You use the dust crusher, but you're not going to have a lot of time. Because either A, that thing's going to be shooting you, or B, you're going to be trying to jump up on a platform and jump and shoot it, because that's the only way you can get up there is on the platform. So you're going to have to work kind of quick. When the thing's coming across, you need to slide under the bottom part. You need to slide under the bottom, otherwise you're probably either going to take a hit or it's going to be instant death, one of the two. But don't challenge it. Don't try it. Do not try it. Just slide under it when it comes flying across through there at a fast rate of speed. Now, like I said, if it's going pretty slow, that's probably going to be your cue to jump in whichever side, slide underneath, and get ready to jump on one of the platforms and shoot the thing. It's a very irritating boss. But that's the only way to do it. Castle level number 3. The boss of this one is kind of weird. I'm going to point out a little something though in this stage. Toward the end, there's you'll see I think it's an E-tank. It's either an E-tank or a 1-up. And at one point, the stage moves by itself. It'll stop once you get towards the door. But right before the door to the boss, there's a whatever that is over there. It looks like there's no way to get it. Best way I can tell you to do, stand near underneath the edge of it to where you can put out a balloon. That's one of the places where the balloon comes in handy. Shoot the balloon out and jump on the balloon real quick. You'll have enough time that it'll put you up to the ceiling, and then you can slide and go get that before the balloon disappears. That's one of the best ways to do it. You can use the wire and do the same thing, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I've always used the balloon, but you may be able to use the wire the same way. But now you'll go into the boss fight, and the best thing I can call these things are wall climbers. There'll be one that'll come out on you'll have 2 platforms to jump back and forth and stand on. Might be 3. I'm not sure. I just know that there's 2. There may be 3. But anyway, this thing will go across on the ceiling, and you'll have to shoot it as it's going across on the ceiling and shooting you. Now you're going to use the ring boomerang on that one, on that particular one that's up across the ceiling. Now once you get him all the way down, about halfway down the life bar, he's going to explode. There's going to be one that's going to come out the bottom corner of the screen. Now this dude, he shoots, but he goes all the way around the room as he's shooting. What you want to do is you want to use the dive missiles so that they'll hit him. But if you want to, and you're finding that you're a little bit better with that, you can still switch to the ring boomerang when he's on the top. So you can switch back and forth in between them. Either one will hit him and do damage. And they're not as hard as what they seem. They're really not as difficult as what they seem. They're fairly easy. Now, stage 4. You'll face Dr. Cossack himself. And he's in it looks like a little miniature claw machine is what it looks like. And he'll move from side to side, The only place that you can hit this thing is in the middle of it. You shoot anywhere in the middle of it, it should do damage. He's going to be firing at you. Another thing is, he'll pick you up. If it comes down, the claw close down on you and it'll pick you up. You can't get out of that. It'll drop you and it'll do quite a bit of damage. So you want to try to stay away from that if at all possible. But it's really hard to shoot him and to stay away when you're trying to fling bullets at this massive thing, and it takes up at least a good quarter of the room if not more of the room, and it's pretty difficult. The only thing I've ever used on is the arm cannon. If anybody's got any other ideas of anything else that might work better, and be more than open to the idea. So, after you beat him, Wily, you'll go into Wily's castle. The first stage of Wily's castle, the boss is going to be that metal that you saw in number 3. Only this time it's going to be a boss. And this time it's mobile. It can shoot, it can move around the stage, and it's really big, and it can call down a bunch of other ones by jumping up and down. You're going to defeat him the same way. You're going to hit him in the little plus sign that's in the middle of the helmet. And you're going to have to jump up to do that, and you're going to hit him with the ring boomerang. See, I told you that ring boomerang would come in handy. We've done used it on 3 bosses, and we're going to use it on 2 more before we're done. So that is a very important weapon to have. It is. It really is. Second Wily stage, you're going to come up on this machine. It kind of looks like a scrubby machine with a vacuum. I decided to name it Vacuum Ball Machine. I don't know. It shoots balls out of the top of the head, and then it shoots like a fire thing out the middle. Now, it's up on a platform. You're down underneath, and there's 2 platform things that circle around like this. You have to jump on the first one, then jump on the second one, and then you have to throw that ring boomerang at the middle of it to hit him. A lot of people say, oh, you can use the rush jet, this or that. I still just do the platform jumping and hit him with the ring, because most of the stuff I can dodge that he's firing out there, and I don't really worry too much about it. Wily Stage 3 is just the Robot Masters again. Now, once you defeat all 3 of them, you're gonna have a Wily boss fight, and it's gonna be a 2-parter. It comes down, and it's a big skull. Pro tip here: stand as close to the skull machine as you can without getting hit, and it will go up and down, and it will shoot out fireballs. If you stand as close as you can to where it's at without getting hit, he cannot hit you with a fireball. You can stand there all day, and he will not hit you with a fireball. He can't hit you with a fireball if you stand that close. Just make sure he's not coming down on top of your head. But he can't hit you with that. And then you'll just have to take your shots and jump up and hit him in the mouth, hit the skull in the mouth with the boomerang, and get whatever you can. Then he'll switch, and he'll still have the fireballs and stuff, but he'll be slinging more junk at you. Now, if you watch the video I made, I screwed up on this boss fight the first time. I screwed up. I was told to use the dive bomb, or not the dive bomb. That would be the dive missile. Now I was told to use the drill bomb on this boss. That's what he's weak against. So I'm trying to use the drill bomb, and it's just flinging off the front of this machine. It's just batting off the front of the machine, just bing off the front of the machine. I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing wrong, while this machine is just pummeling the crap out of me, and you can't hardly hit it with anything. So finally, I kind of looked it up as I was going along, and when I kind of looked it up, the thing that I needed to do was you hit the fire button, and then you hit the fire button again to self-detonate the drill bomb. So you have to jump, fire it at him, and then you still have to hit the shot button again to detonate it before it clinks off of the front of the machine. When it gets right to where it's at, you're going to hit the button, and it'll do the damage. So I had to fight him twice to do that, because I forgot that you can self-detonate the drill bomb. Very important that you people know that. Don't do what I did and mess up. Try to shoot the drill bomb and then let it go. So don't do what I did. What I did was not right. The last Wily boss is the Wily. Well, I say it's a Wily spaceship. You go into an area and it is overly dark in there, and really the only thing that's really gonna do any damage or anything is a charged up Pharaoh shot. That's what you're gonna have to kill him with, or that's what you're gonna have to try to kill him with. There's going to be lightning flying around the room every so often so that you can see where he's at. But most of the time, he's either going to be right on top of you and you're going to take a hit, or you're going to hit him with the Pharaoh shot before, and you're not even going to see him, or he's going to shoot shots at you and you might get hit that way too. It's not a very long boss fight, not overly hard. And one of the Wily stages, there is there are the disappearing and reappearing blocks. If you're not real confident in your ability, you can either use the jet or the balloons or the wire or anything like that to get up through there. If you're not confident in your ability to know or remember where the blocks are, I just usually go up through there because I wait for them and I see what they do, and then I just jump up there through them. But I know a lot of people are not really good with them, but you got to get used to them because they are a staple in these games, and there's at least one section in every game where these things are at. There's another interesting block scenario to note. There's a part where you run up on these other tiny blocks and you have to jump on them. You have to, and they have two little arrows on them, and the arrows will flash, and then they'll go off, and then the other one will start up, and then it'll flash, and then it'll go. They'll have spikes that come out this way, and spikes will come back in, and then they'll go up and down, up and down. And those, they may be instant kills, they may just do damage, I'm not sure. But you have got to time those and you have to jump on them when the spikes are out to the sides. And you'll have to time the jumps on the other ones as they're flashing so that you can get up to the next one over top or whatever you need to do on that one. So be wary of those, because those can catch you really off guard if you don't know a whole lot, if you don't know about them, or if they just kind of are there. Those can really cause a problem. Like I said, you can use my playthrough if you want to know like how to get through this game. But my playthrough was a little bit longer than what it should have been, and that's just me making mistakes. I think that's going to be all for this one. Number 5 will be next. Number 5 is probably maybe my 4th favorite of the group. It kind of goes as 3, 2, 6, 5, 4, and 1. Number 5 does a little bit more with Proto Man in it. And it also, the Robot Masters, on that one, I can kill with just my Mega Buster on all of them. Same thing with number 6. I can kill all of them with the arm cannon. But I didn't do that on the playthrough because I didn't want to. So we'll go through the appropriate way to kill them. And go through number 5. There's a new character on number 5 that makes the game a lot easier toward the end. And we'll show you how to get him. I'll show you what to do there. But like I said, number 5 will be the next one that we'll do. And then we'll follow it up with number 6. Then we'll go back to Donkey Kong Country, things of that nature. You're going to want to stay tuned to us because I'm going to keep doing these game reviews on these and telling you like little tips and tricks on things. It's going to get to a point to where we're going to kind of run out of videos. So what we're going to start doing is I'm going to use the emulator and I'm going to do a little bit of a game. For example, like I may do a little bit of Balloon Fight at some point, and I'll give you my thoughts and ideas on it, and then we'll go to the next game. There may be a few that we may go through and beat or try to beat, which will have separate playthroughs, and we'll let you know that there's more than one part. There's going to be some that either A, we're not going to be able to beat, or B, that I've never been able to beat. Let's put it that way. Then there's the common one of I have beaten it before and I'm not doing it again, and that's one of the ones that's going to be on Ghosts and Goblins. I have beaten Ghosts and Goblins the required 2 times through. I'm not doing it on the stream because the game is just way too difficult to go through twice without me pulling my hair out. It's just too difficult. If there's something that needs to be beat, that like things like that, I'm not going to be beating them. I will show you playthrough of certain stuff, but you're going to have to refer to somebody else's videos because I'll send you like a review area to go to see more of the game, because there's just some of them like there might be Ninja Gaiden. I've only been able to get through it with the Game Genie. And like I said, I like a good challenge like everybody else every so often, but there are times when I don't want to go through an entire game just to get up to the end and not be able to finish it for you guys. I want you to be able to see what the end looks like, what it is, and everything like that. And like I said, that Final Fantasy 1 playthrough, I need to finish it. I can beat the game, but it's just the trying to get it all streamed and trying to stream what we need. Like I said, those Legend of Zelda ones, I'm only doing one review for the Legend of Zelda and then the one for the Link to the Past, because even though there's multiple parts, there's just too many parts for me to go over. Now, I may do a double part review or something, just to point out stuff, but most of it is just going to be, basically for me to tell you stuff. I mean, I'm not going to be able to match up the video or anything like that with with what I'm doing. So there may be a double part to a couple of these games that are longer, but we're not going to, it's not going to be something that we're going to sit there and try to go through and go through and go through and go through and go through when we're not going to be able to, or we're not going to be able to do. So, but we'll do what we can for you. And like I said, we may try to get Jim to do some of these as well, of the other games that he does. Maybe games that I'm not as good at. Fighting games is one thing. Maybe he'll do some fighting games. I know he's better at some of them than what I can do on them. So we'll see. We'll see if he does something on those. And but hope you enjoy the videos. Like I said, these reaction ones, and also I get to tell you whether I like the game or not. So we'll be back next time with Mega Man 5.